11-4 area of regular polygons and composite figures. Right now we're talking about area of regular polygons. A regular polygon is any shape, any shape such as this pentagon that has all equal sides. So all these sides are equal. Alright, there's a couple things you have to know on how to figure out the area of a polygon, and here is the formula. Area equals half of little a, which is the apothem, times the big P, which is perimeter. So there you can see perimeter, and right here you can see apothem. So you have to know, you have to be able to identify what those things are. So the perimeter of this shape, you just add up all the sides. And then the apothem goes from the center to the midpoint of a side. So this right here is the apothem. So you have to be able to identify that. So you add up all the sides, multiply it with the height, or the apothem, and then divide by 2. Alright, so this is the formula that you will be given for these kind of problems. Alright, so number 1. This is a regular polygon, it's a regular triangle, so if this side is 14, that means all these sides are 14 meters. Okay, the apothem, sometimes they'll give you, maybe this is 20, this side is 20, this side is 4, and then this whole side is 14. This is just an example. You have to be able to identify what the apothem is. From the center to the midpoint, this is your apothem, so that's the number you're using. So A equals the apothem times the perimeter divided by 2. Okay, the apothem we just found out is 4. The perimeter, you add up all the sides. So 14, 14, and 14, that adds up to 42. And then divide by 2. So 4 times 42 divided by 2 is 84, and it's meters squared. So just be able to identify the apothem and figure out what the perimeter of any shape is. And these are all regular polygons, so all the sides are always the same. So this side is 10, so that means all these sides are 10. This is a pentagon, so you add up all the sides, it's 50. The apothem, you have to be able to identify it on your assignment and your test. That's the apothem. So area equals little a times big P divided by 2. Okay, area equals the apothem, 6.9. The perimeter, add up all the sides, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 is 50, and then divided by 2. Oops. Okay, so the area is, after you calculate that, is 172.5 inches squared. And you can do it with any shape. You can do it with a square, you can do it with another pentagon, octagon, and 6 sides, so here's a hexagon. Alright, this figure right here, this line, the apothem is 5 square root of 3. If you don't want to use radicals, then just calculate it on your calculator. I did earlier, and that's 8.7. So I'm going to just use 8.7. So the area is little a times big P divided by 2. Area is the apothem, 8.7, times all these sides are 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. So add them all up, you get 60. And then divide by 2. Calculator, 261, I believe, centimeters squared. There you go. So that's the area of regular polygons. So you have a couple questions like that on your assignment. Alright, composite figures. Composite figures is when you take more than one figure and you combine those figures, you subtract those figures, whatever it asks you to do. So for instance, on this problem, this is a rectangle. So you got to figure out the area of a rectangle. Okay, and then this is half of a circle, and it's not shaded, so you have to subtract this area from the entire shape of the rectangle. So you would subtract half of a circle, the area of half of a circle. So this is just an example. Alright, for instance, this problem, you have an entire rectangle and you don't want these three circles. So you'd figure out the area of a rectangle and then subtract it from the area of all three of these circles. Okay, you've already done area of rectangles and circles, so this is like putting everything you've learned all together. Alright, so I'll just show you how I do these kind of problems. I break them down. These are both shaded regions. Alright, this is a rectangle, this is half of a circle. Since they're both shaded, you're going to add the two areas up to get the entire area of the composite figure. So here's how I do it. I break them down. This is a rectangle, and then since it's shaded, I add it with half of a circle. Okay, and then I write the formulas of a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle is base times height. The area of a circle is pi r squared, but since we're doing half of a circle, we divide by 2. And then I just type in what, or plug in my numbers, whatever they are. So the base of the rectangle is 34, times the height of the rectangle is 15. Okay, I multiply that, it's 510. Okay, now I'm going to do my circle. So the area of the rectangle is 510. I'm going to figure out my area of a circle. Pi is pi. R, remember this whole side is the same as this whole side. So if this is 15, this is 15. But this is the diameter. You need to know the radius. The radius is half the diameter, so 7.5. So 7.5, don't forget to square it, divided by 2, since it's half of a circle. And then that's 88.4. And then you just simply add these two areas up because they're both shaded, and that's 598.4 feet squared. You are done. Alright, let's do a different figure. Let's do a triangle that's shaded and a square that's shaded. I know it's a square because all these sides are the same because they have the same lines. Alright, so I'm going to do a triangle added with a square because they're shaded. Now if you remember back to my previous lessons, the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. The area of a square is base times height, or probably back in middle school you learned length times width. Alright, so this triangle right here, there's multiple ways of doing it. I just rotate it, and now this is my base, which is 22, because all these sides are 22. And since this is 22 also, and the whole thing is 42, you had to figure out what the height is. Remember, height makes a 90-degree angle with the base. You have to figure out what the height is. So this is 22. The remainder of 22 and 42, you would subtract them to get 20. So the height is 20. So the base is 22, the height is 20, and then divided by 2. That's 220. Now the base and the height of the square is super easy. 22 times 22 is 484. Then we add those up because they're both shaded. 704 centimeters squared. That is your answer. Alright, last one. What do these shapes look like? These two sides are parallel, these two sides are parallel, so both of these are trapezoids. And if you recognize, look at the numbers of all these guys, they are the same exact trapezoid. So I mean, you can do it like I've been consistent with and breaking up the two figures, and since they're both shaded, we're adding. But since these are both the same, you can only figure out one area of a trapezoid and just double it since they're the same. So the area of a trapezoid, if you remember, is base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. added with whatever you get will be the same thing because they're the same figure. All right, so you don't care about the 64. It has nothing to do with one shape. Since this whole line is 64, you need to figure out the height of just one of these guys. So it's half of that. So 32 meters. That's how long your height is. So I'm going to scratch that out because I don't care about it. I'm just figuring out the area of this trapezoid. The bases, the two bases, if you remember, are parallel to each other. That is, this line and this line are parallel to each other. So you add the two bases, 20. 20 plus 40, and then the height is 90 degrees. We just found it. It's 32, and then divided by 2. So on your calculator, 20 plus 40, enter, times 32 divided by 2 is 960, which means this is 960. You add them up, and you get 1920 meters squared. Boom, you're done. Okay, you got a couple problems like that on your assignment. Remember, if it's not shaded, like up here, you're going to subtract whatever the area is. If both things are shaded, you're going to add. Or you could have multiple. You could have 3 figures. Just shaded, add them. Figure out the areas and add up the shaded regions. All right, have any questions, let me know. Good luck.